Hey everyone, what's up? Good evening. It's Larry the Batman fan here, and I'm back with another video. So, upon request from Anthony Chobatas Pop Culture and Shadow Legends, they wanted me to explain to everyone what my top 15 best PS4 games are. Now, I played my share of PS4 games. I currently own about 60 games for my PS4, so that is a pretty good amount for me to say that I can do a top 15. I had to really think though what titles I wanted to add or what titles I didn't want to add for this top 15 because there's a lot of great games for the PS4. But I've also set aside about 12 games here to show y'all for the honorable mentions part of my video because I understand that there's quite a few games on the system that are excellent. And there is 5 games at the end of the list that I think are overlooked or underrated, so that way more people can check these games out when they get a chance or they get some spare money that they don't have to use to pay their grocery bill, their car payments, or their house bills, or whatever else they have, to take care of their kids or feed their children or feed their wife or whatever. But anyways, yeah. So that's just one I wanted to say. Now, without further ado, let's get into the games. So currently, I don't have Uncharted 4 in my collection. I did have it before, but I might have sold it or gave it away. I think I gave that game to Shadow Legends, so I have to get that game back. So that is number one, but just for this place, I'm putting this here at number one as well. Oh, another thing I wanted to say, spoiler alert, No Last of Us Part 2, because I really didn't like that game. I know a lot of people are going to be wondering, why isn't The Last of Us Part 2 in here? You should have put that on the list. That's a great game. Not to me, it isn't. To me, it was a letdown from the first game. The first game was a masterpiece, but the second game was disappointing. I mean, it was playable, but still had a lot of problems. So the number one game, and I'm tying both of them in for number one spot, is Uncharted 4: Thief's End and Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. Both of these games are excellent here, and I definitely recommend both of these games if you have a PS4. What they are third-person shooter games in the Uncharted franchise. Let me see if I can do it like this. Yeah, but they're really great games. This one you don't play as Nathan Drake in the game. This one you actually play as Chloe, and she has her friend Nadine help you out in the game. And you're searching for some like lost treasures in the game. That's what you do in these games. You're thieves and you go looking for lost treasure. You also end up climbing rocks and other platforms to hide from the bad guys and take them out stealthy. But a lot of times you end up shooting a lot of them. Um, it has a lot of exploration and puzzle solving as well. Like finding a gem to open up a door, but you have to find like two of them to open up the door fully. Or there's puzzles where you have to like find ways of moving this piece around and that piece around to make it fit into the door pieces, so that way the door opens up and you can get through safely. Things like that. So it's a third person shooter, yes, but it has some puzzle solving and exploration in the game. The graphics, excuse me, the graphics in the game are superb, excellent, amazing, and just pretty to look at. And all in all, I think that the Uncharted games are excellent. Even back on the PS3 days, they were excellent as well. But yeah, Uncharted 4 is definitely a fun game. It's a shame that they have ended the Uncharted franchise, but I get why they had to come to an end, because all things must come to an end eventually. But maybe they'll come back with an Uncharted 5 game, but I'm not really sure. but hopefully they will soon. But yeah, Uncharted 4 and Uncharted The Lost Legacy are excellent must plays if you have a PS4. I highly recommend them. You'll get countless hours out of these games. So that's the number one spot. Number two for me is Batman Arkham Knight. This is a great game, great Batman game, and it ended the Arkham trilogy. It was also the first game to get an M rating, which was very surprising for Batman because I thought that this game was going to be rated T for teen. But nope, this one was M because it was a bit more violent and brutal. Also has some language and suggestive themes in there and blood. But it's a great game. It's the same type of game as the last three if you haven't played this one. It's not a shooting game or anything like that. It's a beat 'em up game. And you just go through the levels as Batman. You kick bad guy asses on the street and you just go through the levels. You know, you defeat the Joker, and Harley Quinn, and a bunch of other people. You know, you do mission objectives saving people. And you get to ride the Batmobile in this game too, which is awesome. And Robin and Batgirl do make an appearance in this game later on. So it's pretty awesome. It's an excellent game if you have a PS3. Okay, number three. I'm sure Jackal Goldkick would agree with me. This game really went back to its roots from like Resident Evil 5 and Resident Evil 6 because they really weren't that scary, to be honest with you. There were a few moments where you might jump, but for the most part it was more of a shooting game, if anything. It wasn't really a driving game or racing game or survival horror game. It was more of a shooter. But it went back to its roots with Resident Evil 7, Biohazard. And you play as a guy named Ethan Withers or something. I think that's his name. But what happens is he ends up going to that creepy house there. When he gets there, nothing is what it seems. In fact, he finds a tape, and the tape shows that there were three men that went into this creepy, spooky house, and none of them made it out alive, unfortunately. He eventually does find his wife, but apparently she became part of the Baker family. She did it because she wanted to survive. So they did something to her body that caused her to turn into a freak. She wasn't like quite a zombie, but she was out of her mind, you know what I mean? Just a lunatic. And, you know, there were several times in the game where she tried to kill you in the game, and you had to, like, shoot her in the head to get her to back off. She tried to kill you with a chainsaw and everything like that. It's crazy. This game is really brutal in the violence, for sure. And it is scary. It's very scary. There's this one part where there are these mannequins that I swear, I kid you not, they were behind me. Like I saw them, I turned around, three mannequins just, one with its mouth open, one like with its arm up and the other arm down, you know, like this. And then another one where like it was just a pale, faceless look. Like I swear they were like in the corner on the left side. I turn around for like 3 seconds. I turned back around. They were closer to me than where they were before. That was really freaky, you know. And there is a horror movie about mannequins, so no wonder. But yeah, that was some freaky crap right there. And I knocked those mannequins down the stairs. I wasn't taking any chances after that. It was crazy. There's a lot of fun to be had in this game, a lot of exploring. There is this part in the game where you see a fridge, you open up the fridge, and it's just like all this decayed food that's been there for months and flies buzzing around it, which was disgusting. But it makes sense why it was there. Excuse me, you know. So really freaky game, but really good and really entertaining, you know. It's also interesting that when your arm got chopped off, you could grab your arm, get down the chute, run away from that crazy lunatic with the chainsaw, put water on it, and then it heals your arm, and it's like back to normal. Just like you look at your arm, you see it, it's normal, and you're like, oh, okay. Stroll right along like nothing happened. That was interesting how you heal yourself. Great game. I know I already talked about that for like 5 minutes because it's such a fun game. All right, next game on the list. This is number 4. Is Infamous Second Son. I do think this is a great action game. Plays the same guy as before, but he's a lot older and a lot more mature. And he has the power of like speed running, you know, speed dashing, and you know, fighting off the bad guys in the game. And you got to go from point A to point B and things like that. And you got the power of electricity. It's a really great game. I do recommend this game. It's a lot of fun if you have a PS4. And it was like one of the first games that they announced when PS4 was like huge. I mean, of course, it's still huge, but more people are talking about the PS5 nowadays. But yeah, it's a great game. I do recommend it. It's a lot of fun. Definitely worth owning if you have a PS4. I'm sorry that's a short review, but trying to keep this about 25 minutes or less. All right, the next game, we're at number 5, I believe. Fallout 4. Great RPG game. I know it also ties in with survival horror and a shooter game, but it really is a great game. It's a shame that Fallout New 76 sucked because they had a lot of glitches in the game. But Fallout 4 was excellent, and I definitely recommend it if you have a PS4 for PlayStation fans. There's a lot of exploring in this game. You can take a nap in the game. You get a dog companion in the game that helps you throughout the game. The dog can attack enemies in the game and help you. Um, you can get into an abandoned house in this game and just stay there for like a week and not go anywhere or do anything. Of course, why would you want to do that? But it's cool that you could do things like that. Um, the grass looked real, you know. You go into certain towns where it's like a free for all. You're shooting a lot of bad guys. There's just so much that you can do in this game. There's a lot of explaining, you know. And I mean, this game, I got this game for $10 at GameStop, and I don't think it's much more than that now. It might be $7 now. It was a really great game, and I highly recommend it if you have a PS4. You definitely do not want to pass that one up. You'll probably get like 60 or 70 hours in that game and still have some other shit to do. All right, number 7. I believe this is number 7 is Rise of the Tomb Raider. Really great game. Sadly, I don't have the original case for it. I got it at Mr. Deals for $15. But it's a great game. I haven't beaten it, so that's why I haven't played Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I did beat the first game. That was a good game. I played it on PS3 and Xbox 360. Never played the PS4 version though, but I've heard the graphics were slightly better than the original Tomb Raider reboot. But it's a good game. You're basically going after Trinity, or Trinity's going after you because you're an outcast to them. So in the game, you're Lara Croft, and you work together with this one dude because you end up in a jail. You and this one other guy. But eventually, y'all start working together, even though she doesn't really trust him for a while. She eventually learns to trust the guy, you know, and then they want to take down Trinity altogether. Here's the disc, by the way, you know. And of course, it's Tomb Raider came before Uncharted, so there's a lot of shooting going on in the game, and there's also exploring the levels and puzzle solving as well. And it's just really fun. Really keeps me interested and holds my attention. I have a lot of fun playing this game. But sadly, I've never beat it. I've come very close, but just never beat it. All right. Number 8 is Horizon Zero Dawn. I do think that this is a good game. Playing as Aloy and her dad in the beginning. Fortunately, her dad dies, and then you just play as Aloy. It's like an action RPG game where you're a girl who's like a young girl. She eventually grows up, and you're fighting these like giant monsters. You see that monster there? That is one of the monsters that you fight. And it's a really well done game. It definitely keeps you interested in playing the game, and it's just a lot of fun. I highly recommend Horizon Zero Dawn if you guys have a PS4. You definitely will get your money's worth out of this, and it's only about $10 now at GameStop, maybe $5 now, and that's a no-brainer. You must pick this up. Don't worry about digital copies. Pick up the physical. Cheaper that way, most of the time. It's a really great game. Now we're at number 9. This was kind of hard putting this at number 9, but honestly, I'm okay with putting it at number 9. It's Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain. This is a great stealth game. This is a franchise that I really like, that I think is really fun. I also really do enjoy the Splinter Cell games, even though they're ridiculously hard. This is a great game too, and even though it's hard. Play as Solid Snake, or Snake for short, in the game. Go through the levels in stealthy ways and killing rather the bad guys in the game, and using camouflage and things like that. And it's just a fun stealth shooter game that I highly recommend. Definitely one of the best stealth games you could play. And the graphics and the levels, design, and everything about the game is just excellent. I highly recommend Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain for PS4. Number 10 is Life is Strange. I had a lot of fun with this game. I really think that this is a good game. It's an adventure game about these two girls that are in high school, Max Caulfield and her best friend Chloe. Although Chloe ends up being kicked out of the school because she doesn't tolerate crap from nobody, and she likes smoking cigarettes and things like that. Smoking weed, I mean. She doesn't smoke cigarettes, she smokes weed. And, they're like the best of friends. She gets kicked out of school because she doesn't know how to behave or get along with people. But the premise of the story is that the two of them are trying to find out what happened to one of their other friends. Because I think her name's Rachel in the game. Rachel goes missing and they don't know what happened to her. So they decide to team up together and try and find her and find out what happened. There is some drama parts in this game that happen that show what happens when you don't care for others. Because there's a girl that ends up killing herself in this game. She commits suicide. She tried her very best to save her. You can save her in the game, but it's very hard to do so. Um, she has another friend named Warren. They're not boyfriend and girlfriend or anything like that. They're just friends. You can steal in this game. There is parts in the game where you can steal. You can either steal or not steal. Also, Max develops a power where she can like rewind time to change the future, which was an interesting aspect. It's a really good game. And also, there's a part in the game where she goes back to the past. You know, level with the train, where she has to save Chloe's life because the train's coming, is going to run her over. So she has to use her powers to rewind time, give her enough time to actually use this thing at the train station to turn the little gears from the train hitting her, going a different direction instead. That was interesting. The game just kept me involved, kept me interesting all the way interested rather all the way through the game. I recommend Life is Strange. It's a great game. I should probably get the other Life is Strange game, even though Max Caulfield is not in the fucking game. I don't know why. She should have been, but they decided to take a different route with that. Alright, and the last games that we have in here are underrated games. I'm going to put Shadow Warrior at number 11. I think that's a pretty underrated game for a shooting game. It's a lot of fun. It kind of plays like Red Steel, but on the PS4. You play as some dude, you go through the levels, you shoot things, and you stab people with your sword. It's a really good game. I highly recommend it. They did end up making a sequel to that game, but I never played it. I did play the first one, though. You're probably saying, why don't I show it? I had that game, but my idiot friend Mike from years ago, he stole that game. So, screw him. I don't have that game, though, because of that reason. I could buy another copy off of eBay. But yeah, that's an underrated game. Another game that I don't have in my collection, but I did used to have, excuse me, is The Long Dark. And what The Long Dark is a survival game. And in that game, you basically go through the levels trying to survive. You have to, like, get yourself by a fireplace. Try not to get killed by wolves. Sleep in a tent in the cold environment, like the below freezing weather. Put on your boots. Because when you wake up, you're dressed, but you got, like, no shoes on and no coat. You have to hustle, and you're only, like, given like a short amount of time to get that coat, get the fire started, and get your boots on. It did have some frustrating moments in the game, which is why it's only at number 12. I mean, I died countless times trying to get, where I needed to be and get things done. I really wanted to see more of the game, and I just never got to it. So it's unfortunate. I used to have that, but I just remember it being a really good game. Definitely check out The Longest Dark, or The Long Dark rather. A copy on eBay will cost you about $50 though, because the prices I saw went up for that game since it's so overlooked and no one's really talking about it, but it's a really good game. The next game we have here is Fade to Silence, which I've heard good things about. I have not had a chance to play this game, but I am going to be popping this in and probably playing it tonight. But I've heard it's a survival game, kind of like Long Dark, and I've heard good things about it. So Fade to Silence. And then number 14, we have a game that I did play that I consider underrated. And I'm a big fan of Agatha Christie. I love the books. Is Agatha Christie, The ABC Murders. For the 14th spot, this is a good spot to put it, I believe. Probably could have put it at number 12 or 13, honestly. But this game you play as Gavier Perot, or Pardo, however you pronounce his last name. And you're solving murders as a detective. You find a dead body inside of a place. Then you puzzle solve and investigate. That's basically what this game is. It's a puzzle solving game. You find out the murder weapon. You find the clues that lead from one thing to another till you finally solve the case. It's a really good game. You can get this game for $10 at GameStop. I recommend it for that price. It's a really good game. I highly recommend it. Graphics are pretty good. Gameplay is fun. Some of the voice acting, you kind of got to listen closely because it's talked with an accent. And he doesn't always say things in English that sounds quite right. And maybe some of the mouth dialogue doesn't quite line up with the speech. But for the most part, I think this game is pretty awesome. And I recommend it for those that are fans of puzzle solving games. And the last game is a survival horror game. I've never played it, but I look forward to at least trying it out. It's called Dark Pictures Presents A Little Hope. Little Hope looks like a pretty fun game. I look forward to playing this. Like I said, I haven't played it, but I do look forward to playing it. It looks like a lot of fun. definitely looks like something I'd be interested in checking out. And that's why it makes my top 15. Now here's a stack of some other games that I consider good for the honorable mentions. Just didn't quite fit into my top 15. So here we go. Metro Exodus. Great game. Highly recommend that if you're a fan of first-person shooters. It does have some light horror elements in the game. I mean, the beginning of the game, I was very low on bullets. I was being chased by these wolves. I'm not sure if they were werewolves or what the hell they were, but they were these monsters. It was really freaky. I did not beat this game though. I got far, but I just couldn't beat it. I got stuck at a certain spot. I don't know. I had to stay in like a sheltered area. I was being chased by wolves and these other monsters in the game. But I never figured out what I was supposed to do to get, everything I needed for that train to start running and get through that town. Because you end up getting off the train and being on foot. Your girlfriend's still waiting for you too. But you gotta explore through the game a bit before you get back to the train. I just never got back to that part. But from what I played, it was pretty good still. Tekken 7, excellent game. Can't recommend it enough if you're a fan of fighting games. Also, I do recommend Soul Calibur 6. World War Z. The campaign may be short in this game for only like having 3 or 4 levels. Although they spread it out through chapter 1, 2, 3, and 4 for level 1. And there might be some frustrating parts where you're like pretty damn close to actually getting to the very end, but then a zombie killed one of your teammates or something and made it so that you got mission failure, which sucks. But for the most part, the game's pretty good, pretty fun. For a licensed game, it was decent. I know that this game was also released on Xbox One and the Nintendo Switch. And the Switch port was very surprising when that came out. Because I think it came out 2 years after this game and the Xbox One port. But it is a fun licensed game, a good zombie game. Despite a few flaws, like the zombie getting stuck for like 3 seconds or so and then staggering its way towards you. Couple of problems, but for the most part, it was still pretty fun. I recommend it. Call of Duty Black Ops 3. I've sort of fallen out of love for Call of Duty. That's why it's not in my top 15. Well, I would be lying rather, if I said I didn't have some fun with Call of Duty. Because really, Call of Duty is a fun game overall. I do recommend it. But I'm just not a big Call of Duty fan like I used to be because they make one every year. But I did pick this up on Black Friday. I think I paid for this one. It was this Tales of Arise and Days Gone, and I think Days Gone was a game I got for free. But it was a decent game, a good shooting game for what it was. Enough to make my honorable mentions at least. Resident Evil 3, good remake. Highly recommend this. This was a lot of fun. Kill zombies in the game. It's just a blast to play. Highly recommend that. Gonna speed this up a little bit because we're almost at 30 minutes. Titanfall 2, very good shooting game. I recommend this. And it's only like $5, so pick up a physical copy of it. It's worth it for $5. I got mine for $5.99 at Pastime Legends. I mean, if you pay $5 to $7, whatever, it's still worth the money even at $7. Dying Light was a fun zombie game, but I didn't really care for the parkour elements too much in the game. It made the game a chore to play. Excuse me, trying to get through the levels and stuff. I like Resident Evil much better than Dying Light, to be honest with you. But the game is still a very fun zombie game. Gravity Rush 2. I don't know why the hell this wasn't put on the Vita. because that's where it started. They should put it on the Vita, but they never did. But Gravity Rush 2 is a great game. I recommend this game. It's fun. Plays a girl named Kat. Got a friend in the game. Had the ability to fly around the town, and you fight bad guys and evil monsters. And you also have a kitty cat that follows you around as well. It was like a companion. It's a great game. This game's not cheap though. It used to be if you find it at GameStop, be prepared to pay $40. I saw this one time at a GameStop in Florida for $17.99. I picked it up, but then that game got stolen. I had to get another copy. I paid almost $50 for this game off eBay because I don't know. It's gotten rare or something. Something's going on with the game. So be prepared to pay about $50 for this game. But it is a great game. I do recommend it. I love Gravity Rush, especially the first one on PS Vita. Great game. Oh, I got Uncharted: The Lost Legacy here. Whoops. Yeah, I got 2 copies of that. Doom Eternal. This is a fun game. Good first-person shooter. Recommend that. Red Dead Redemption 2, which I haven't played yet, but I've heard great things about it. The first one was excellent, so I don't expect anything less from the second game. It's an excellent game. Good Western shooting game. Of course, Dark Souls 3. Great beat 'em up style game with some mild horror elements in the game. Excellent. Watch Dogs and Watch Dogs 2 are excellent. I recommend Watch Dogs 2 if you have a PS4. Definitely can't pass that up. And then also I recommend Tom Clancy's The Division 1 and 2. Crash Bandicoot 4, it's about time. And hell yeah, it's about time because it took y'all forever to make that game. But that's a good game. Crash Insane Trilogy. If you have never owned the Crash Bandicoot games on PS3, then that's a good one to pick up. Crash Nitro Kart Fueled. They made an updated Crash Nitro Kart game. Sonic Frontiers. That's an excellent Sonic game. We finally got a Sonic game worth a damn. There was a couple here and there, like Sonic and Lost World and Sonic Colors that were decent, and Sonic Generations, but the majority of the Sonic games we've been getting have been crap. They haven't been good. So thank God Sega did it right and got Sonic Frontiers right. It's actually a very good game. I also do recommend Resident Evil 2 Remake, and I recommend Resident Evil 8 The Village, and the original Resident Evil and Resident Evil 4. Those are all just remakes, though, of the original games. And I know that they also ported Resident Evil 5 and 6 on PS4. But they weren't originally on that system. They were on PS3 and Xbox 360. That's why I don't own them. I own them on the original systems that they were released for. And what else do I recommend? I recommend The Last Guardian. I recommend Shadow Warriors 2. I recommend Prey. Prey is a fun shooter game. I recommend Control. That's a good game. I like Control. That was fun. That's a third-person shooter. That was good. I also do recommend Call of Duty World War II and Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, which I do own that one over there in the case. And Black Sad Under the Skin. And Little Big Planet 3. Neo 1 and 2. Helldivers. And I also do recommend what's the name of that game? Payday 3, which I believe has come out. And if it hasn't come out yet, it's coming out soon. I recommend the Walking Dead games as well, because they were ported. The first 2 were originally on PS3 and 360, but they ported them to the PS4 and Xbox One, and they put the 3rd and 4th game on there, I think, exclusively. And I recommend the Wolfenstein games as well. They're good first-person shooter games as well. And because the fans are going to be pissed off that I don't put it on here, NBA 2K18, NBA 2K17. We'll just throw those in there, even though I really don't care for those games. And that's everything I wanted to say, guys, for the PS4 Top 15 plus honorable mentions. I hope you guys enjoyed. Feel free to leave me comments. I always love your comments as long as they're not disrespectful or mocking God. I have no issues with that. God bless you all and have a blessed day. And thank you for watching. And also, please let me know in your what your top 10 or your top 15 best PS4 games are in the comments section below. And thank you all for watching. Have a blessed night. God bless you. Take care. Thank you for watching.